Sanibonani nonke emakhaya. My name is Violet Phooko and welcome to yet another episode of Monday Tsene at Pretoria Psychologists. Today we'll be talking about the importance of boundaries in personal relationships. So when we're talking about boundaries, we are referring to the manner, basically the guidelines in which you want to be treated. So basically having boundaries ensures mutual respect, appropriateness, as well as caring. So how do we go about boundaries? So basically, first of all, you need to identify your boundaries. As a person, you need to decide where do you start and where do you end, what is appropriate and inappropriate in your personal life. Secondly, once you've identified those boundaries, you yourself need to respect them and stick to them. And thirdly, you need to have a plan. What are the consequences should someone fail to respect your boundaries? So thinking about it, there are 5 common boundaries that we talk about on a daily that are the most common that I'm going to be discussing today. So the first boundary, we'll be talking about physical boundary. That has to do with your body, your privacy, as well as your personal space. So now we are talking about how you want people to treat you and what standards you set in terms of your body, your privacy, as well as your personal space, how people should enter your personal space, where do you draw the line with your boundaries, and how people should relate to you in terms of your body, such as things like, do you allow people to hug you or do you keep it at a handshake? The second boundary is emotional boundaries. So the thing with emotional boundaries is that you as a person need to be in touch with your own feelings. You need to know your own emotions and how you yourself relate to them so that you can set how people must relate to you. So you can't expect people to respect your emotional boundaries when you haven't set them, when you yourself don't have or know your emotions. And then thirdly, there's sexual boundaries. So sexual boundaries relates to the expectations around physical intimacy. The fourth one is intellectual boundaries. This is when we talk about respecting people with different ideas and views to you. So just because of someone does not believe in what you believe in or see something the same way you do does not mean you need to disrespect them. It also comes to being open-minded and hearing other people without judging them. And then the fifth one is financial boundaries. That of course talks about everything and anything money. So the thing about boundaries is that boundaries are found in all kinds of relationships and need to be respected in all kinds of relationships. So the most common that I can think of where boundaries are important and need to be explicitly set is in a setting of family, it's in a setting of friends, colleagues, as well as having in a romantic relationship. So I've got a few examples here as to how things can go wrong. So basically, things you need to think about when setting your boundaries in these kind of relationships. The first example is a family and a lover. So imagine you and your partner have been together for a long time. You've introduced him or her to the family. And now you're coming in a season of storm. You guys are not getting along. Things are just not going great. You as a person go and tell your family every single detail. Fast forward a couple of days later, you and your lover have made up. However, the family is still holding on to the behavior or whatever that you had went to them to complain about. How does that then affect your relationship? You see the importance of boundaries there. Here's another example, the workplace. You as a person know how you conduct yourself and want to be handled. Imagine you get to work and someone hugs you and you're not a hugger and you have expressed to that person that you don't want to be hugged or touched in that way. Where then do we draw the line? And is it possible to then say that that's sexual harassment? Do you see why boundaries are important? And then another one, let's say a friend, something we take for granted. You tell a friend, listen, I don't like you coming at my house unannounced, but your friend keeps doing it. Or you tell your friend, listen, I don't want you to go in my bedroom, but your friend keeps doing it. What does that then say about that friend? So the thing about boundaries is that some people may come with the thing of, I don't want to be known as a mean person. But boundaries are important because they set a safe space for you to be, and they set a safe space for the next person to be, which allows the relationships to be mutually respectful, and an open relationship, and a safe space for both of you to be. Now, also the trick about boundaries is as much as you are strict about your boundaries and know your boundaries, we also have to understand that the next person also has boundaries and the next person is also strict about their boundaries. So we also have to put ourselves in a place where we respect the next person's boundaries. So remember, once again, when we speak about boundaries, we are literally talking about how you want to be treated and communicated to. So boundaries are important in all kinds of settings. And boundaries are important to be respected. So you as a person also needs to respect the next person's boundaries. Thinking about the examples that I mentioned before, think about how boundaries could have helped in those situations and how things could have worked out better because of you had set your boundaries and identified your boundaries, stuck to them, and had a plan of consequence should a person fail to respect those boundaries. So that will be that for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a lovely day further. Bye.